expanse of this world, from the deepest oceans to the highest peaks. Life, in its myriad forms, adapts, thrives, and endlessly surprises. And the most curious creatures are often overlooked. Today, we turn our lens to a species rarely documented in its natural habitat. Small, shadowy echoes of human emotion, these are the cacodemons, or as they are affectionately known, Cocoa Puffs. The elusive shyness puff, a creature of profound introversion, prone to whispering and hiding, it thrives in shadows and hates eye contact. Often mistaken for allergies or very dramatic dust bunnies, Cocoa Puffs manifest the emotions we humans seek to hide. For example, the rage puff, loud, small, and easily triggered, is most aggressive when presented with homework, dropped Wi-Fi, or injustice in group projects. The grief puff will appear at unexpected moments, after goodbyes, sad songs, or when memory sneaks up uninvited. It may require chocolate or hugs, or both. A close relative of grief can be found in the loneliness puff, quiet and still in the wilds of isolation. It often practices small talk with squirrels and bumblebees. One of the most common yet perplexing subspecies is the anxiety puff. Always overthinking, it prepares for disasters that may never come. With a diet of half-baked rumination, this is a creature of magnificent inefficiency. Though unseen by most, Cocoa Puffs are everywhere. Shadows that giggle, sigh, or silently panic in tandem with us. These extraordinary creatures continue their tireless work, an essential part of the tapestry of human existence, quiet proof that you are never alone. Not really.
Fourth. He has a gavel. He will threaten me with it. Okay, so...
And I can understand you writing about the great Greek gods and demigods. But those cultural misappropriators, the Romans? Why would you ever write about the Romans?
I mean, you have a point, but, you know, I guess the Roman Empire's always been my Roman Empire. When I finished the first 5 Percy Jackson books, I wanted to keep going in that world. I loved it, but I wanted to do it a little bit differently, just to kind of challenge myself. So I started thinking, at this point, I was back in Texas and I was missing the Bay Area, and I thought, what if there was another camp where the demigods were Roman and they were in the East Bay? So I designed Camp Jupiter, and the entrance is the Caldecott Tunnel. It goes straight into the hills, and there's this secret valley in there. I'm glad I did that series. I had a good time with it.
I see that you've written about my friends, Caligula, Commodus, and Nero.
Your friends.
Soft-hearted, but otherwise nice, good people. Looking at the trials of Apollo, may I assume that these are the trials held by those wonderful, fair Roman emperors against that fiery gas bag Apollo?
Fiery gas bag?
Wow. Okay, agree to disagree. So this came out actually from a myth that I read where Zeus gets mad at Apollo and grounds him, turns him into a mortal, sends him to the earth as a regular schmuck, and he's got to find his way back to Mount Olympus. I just thought, that's really cool. Let's do that to Apollo again. So I sent him to Earth. I renamed him Lester Papadopoulos. And I gave him this whole quest to do. And I'm sorry to tell you that the Roman emperors were the big bads of that series. And, oh, they're pretty bad.
Well, that's a creative work of fiction.
And I can't promise you anything, but I think we're getting close.
Much as this pains me, I must confess I was mistaken. You were able to find something more bizarre than hippo gods. And then you wrote about Norse mythology?
Yes, that's true. When my family and I moved to Boston about 13 years ago, I decided to set a series there. I love the Viking myths. I grew up reading the mythology, reading the Mighty Thor comic books, all of that. I love it. So I decided to make a new character, Magnus Chase, who is Annabeth's cousin. I made Boston the entrance to Valhalla, the afterlife of the Vikings. So Magnus dies. That's not a spoiler, it happens on page 1. He wakes up in Valhalla and has to learn how to be this sort of super Einherjar, one of the Odin's warriors in the afterlife, and figure out how he's going to live now that he's dead.
And then so you went back to Percy. Good. But you made him older. Bad.
I think Percy might not agree with you, and the poor kid's been 17 for a decade now. But yeah, about 7 years ago, when we were thinking about trying to make this Percy Jackson TV show, one of the things I offered to Disney was, look, if you'll do the show, I might be willing to go back and write an actual Percy Jackson first-person narration book for the first time in like 10 years. I had this idea for 3 books in which Percy's great world-shattering quest would be to get into college, which for him is a pretty big quest. He's got to get 3 recommendation letters from the gods. I've written the first 2 already, and I'm working on the 3rd right now, so stay tuned.
We look insane. We did. Literally while I was writing Battle for the Arena is when I got notice from someone named Rick Riordan that maybe, and I would love to hear a little bit more about, maybe you wanted to write a Nico book?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that. I know that Nico is one of my favorite characters, and I know a lot of the readers love Nico D'Angelo.
And Rick very politely, but sort of hesitantly, was like, are you familiar with Percy Jackson? And I had to be like, excuse me, and then lean over and scoop up my box sets. Will someone please remind me to post this photo? I'll probably forget. I keep forgetting every night to say this. I have a photo of my post-it notes that are in the books. I took notes because I wanted to. About characters, a lot of it about Nico and Will, just thoughts, feeling. So yes, I knew Percy Jackson, but we have talked extensively on this tour too about how sort of intimidating this was at first. On my end, it was, I got asked, here's an outline. First of all, I got the whole outline for Sun and the Star and was like, well, now I know every secret. And then I was asked, what do you think the first 10,000 words of this book would be? And I had to write that. That was my audition. And I need you to know, any of you who are fans who maybe have written fan fiction or written your own interpretations or whatnot, imagine you write something like that, and then this is the second person who reads it. It's terrifying. I will say, on a positive note, to sort of close this circle, if you have read The Sun and the Star, the first 5 chapters, that's my audition. I would say about 5 to 10% of it got changed as we edited it, but you read my audition.
But you're Nico. Going from a dour goth boy to a well-adjusted young man with a sunny boyfriend.
I mean, yes. I think that was kind of the natural progression. I mean, Nico is learning more about who he is and who he wants to be. And The Sun and the Star, as I mentioned, was really about Nico and Will learning how to be a couple and how to support each other in the worst of situations. And so that was their arc. Then it seemed like the next book, The Court of the Dead, would be more about, okay, now we kind of have an understanding of who we are together. How do we support as a couple the other people who are important in our lives? Like, for instance,
I love Hazel so much. Here's the thing. I saw some interesting reactions online as the book was about to come out, where people were excited. They were like, oh, we'll probably get like 10 scenes with Hazel or so. I don't know why, but people just didn't think it was, like, there are point of view chapters for her in this book. Like, we really wanted to do justice to Hazel, who hasn't quite been around, lately. She is a huge part of it. So is Frank, by the way. But, yeah, we absolutely wanted to include Hazel because she's part of this family. Because something happened at the end of The Sun and the Star that we wanted to honor, which is what happens when you allow monsters to have a choice. It's Wednesday. Guess what happens on Wednesday? The New York Best Times seller list comes out. Court of the Dead is number 1.
I mentioned 7 years ago as the time we started working on the Kane Chronicles adaptation. That was also the time that we started, Becky and I, re-engaging Hollywood about Percy Jackson for the first time in many years. Some things had happened, we don't need to go into it.
The movie happened.
What happened then was that Disney had acquired the Fox Corporation, and we said, good for you. We said, did you know you now own the adaptation rights for Percy Jackson? We should really talk. It took a long time, a lot of flights out to LA, a lot of conversations with different people, but finally we were able to negotiate a deal where Becky and I became co-producers, or rather executive producers, on the new Percy Jackson TV show. What does that mean? Does that mean I control every single aspect of the show? No, that's impossible. I have now learned that TV is incredibly difficult. I thought I understood how a show was made. I had no clue. Every day that we are filming, and we are filming in Vancouver right now on season 3. Every day, the call list of cast and crew is 500 people. That's how much it takes from sun up to sundown every day to create approximately 1 minute that you will eventually see on the screen. So you can do the math and figure out how long it takes to film an entire season.
I've been expecting you.
Let's do this. Action.
Percy Jackson began as a bedtime story for my son. All these years later, it's become a story for kids all over the world.
It all started with a book that 180 million people around the world adore.
The books are really special to me probably read all of them 6 times so far. I enjoyed them a lot in 3rd grade, and I still enjoy them now. I'll find out who I am.
Oh my god, it was amazing.
You're more than a hero now.
The fans that have read the books can say, I could be Annabeth Chase or Percy Jackson. You can be the hero no matter what you look like, no matter what your personal challenges are, no matter where you come from.
I feel like it makes me realize that I can achieve really great things in my life.
You are not broken. You are singular.
There was this demand for a really faithful adaptation of the stories.
Rick has given 20 years of his life to this material, building this with us. It was crucial. It was going to make the difference of this working or not working.
For what comes next, you're gonna need all the help we can get.
Brace yourself, Perseus.
Let's go do the impossible.
It's crazy how it went from the bedtime story
Yes, Rick Riordan and Marco Shero are here with me. They say hey. No. I would never conduct an unauthorized trial. No. Unauthorized trial? No, it's more like a good hang. You want to see me? Well, we do have a rather full schedule, but I think we can fit you in about 2 weeks from the next solstice. Would that work, Lord Hades? Now? You want to see me now? Hello? How rude. Court adjourned. Hang you all.
Close to us. It was outdoors if you saw the photos on Instagram. But the thing that we didn't expect is we could hear every comment everyone was making. When he made the joke, I'm here with Rick and Mark, they say hey, a person right here said, no, Mark would say, they say gay. And I heard every word, and I just looked at them like, I can hear you, that intrusive thought you just said, so I decided to share with all of you.
What is one specific way Solangelo's relationship has matured over time?
Solangelo, if you don't know, there's the ship name, Will Solace, Nico
You know, it's really hard to ask a question we haven't heard before. I don't think we've heard that before.
Yeah, we have not, so bravo.
Good job, good job. I think really a lot of it has to do with sort of figuring out their place in the world as a couple, like I was saying earlier. For instance, one of the most beautiful things that happened in Court of the Dead is we get to meet Will's mom. And if you've ever been in a sort of a longer-term relationship, you know what a big moment that is and how many things can go wrong with that.
I'll add to that. I think that something that was really rewarding, particularly writing The Sun and the Star, was watching them role reversal, and that Nico sort of had to become a caretaker now because Will was in a place where he couldn't access a lot of his powers. And I think we wanted to explore, well, what happens when that happened and what do they come out on the other side of it. And I think when you read Court of the Dead, you'll see how they come out of their experience in Tartarus and have changed. And it was really rewarding to write.
If Nico and Will were doing matching costumes for Halloween, besides a lamp and a Care Bear, what would they go as?
No, mine will bring the whole house down. I need you to go first.
Thank you. So, okay. No, now I just want to hear yours. I don't even want to do it.
You have to go as Phineas and Ferb. Also, one of the greatest TV shows of all time. Also, the comeback, incredible. It's so good. Please watch it. Also, they're both Disney, so that could canonically happen on the... Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking.
What animal turned Frank Zhang into next? What is the craziest animal you could possibly turn him into?
By the way, Bay Area, 3 for 3 on questions we've never been asked.
Right, it's amazing. You know, the other day we were talking about sloths, and I think that would be an amazing animal for Frank to be, just because they're so darn cute.
So slow. Yeah, I'm gonna go with sloth. By the way, I have a Kristen Bell relationship with sloths, if you know what that means. The first time I met a sloth, I cried so hard. I love them a lot. But yeah.
What other unimaginable horrors do you both have planned for Percy Jackson and his friends?
I have to say, you all are much better at imagining those horrors than I am. I mean, people have been complaining about me killing off Percy Jackson since 2006, and it's never happened, but they still keep complaining about it. So I think your imagination for the horrors is better than mine will ever be.
I will say, like we said before, we are not master planners. We have maybe talked about a 3rd book. It is not planned, there's nothing in the works. I say this, and you're all gonna think I'm gaslighting you, but I'm not. I don't know, we've talked, that's all I'll say.
Brendan Riordan, do you want to talk about anything in the future?
Oh, well, I suppose I could say one thing that I have on my plate right now that's kind of interesting, that is, I wouldn't say it's an unimaginable horror, but is interesting. So I had such fun working with Mark that when Disney recently asked me if there was something else that we might be able to do around Camp Half-Blood, maybe on the TV side, but definitely on the book side, I said, I don't want to just write more books to write more books, but then I thought about it and I said, there is one idea that might be fun, and that is to sort of build on what Mark and I have done, and I wonder if we could invite more creators to collaborate with me and create a new story in the world of Camp Half-Blood. And that kind of caught fire, and it is in process right now. I can't tell you anything more, but stay tuned.
I'm afraid that's all the questions we have time for tonight.